Think of one word that describes this evening for you. What would it be?
Amazing. Fun.
That's more than one word. Interesting. She's like, interesting.
Princessy.
Princessy. Magical.
My mom and grandma. And my sister.
So special. Yeah.
Girly.
Girly. Blessed. I like that one.
Magnificent.
Magnificent. I don't know is not doesn't count. So try again. Great.
Do you have a word? Okay.
All right. You.
It's already taken, like, amazing.
Amazing. Hold up. I'm going to get redneck here.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Fantastic! Elegant. I like that word. Y'all.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Oh, God.
Unique. All right. Those all are words that describe every single one of you ladies, not just this night. So you guys look beautiful. And now to vote. And again, this does not mean if you don't win this crown, girls, don't go getting in a fight. Don't get catty. And we're going to go down the line and you guys are going to cheer. Whoever gets the loudest cheer is the princess crown. Ready? All right, here we go. Yes, you have. In front of us. Look at her! Okay, so I think you stay up here. You stay up here. And you stay up here. Everybody else goes down. Look at that stair steps. Look how precious you are. She looks like a Disney princess. All right, we're going to do it again. But I want you guys to tell me what this evening means to you. Because although we're all gorgeous on the outside, let's get to the heart. So I'm putting you on the spot.
It's really special because it's the first time that I've liked this in my life.
Say hi, Mom! What has it meant for you, Angelina? All right. Go ahead, girl.
It's so special because I'm here with my mom. She's back there. She's so beautiful.
All right.
All right, guys, you ready? Who do you think it is? Do we have... And we have... I think we have our princess of the night. All right, there.
me is I want my daughter to know that she is the most beautiful girl.
Amen.
And I want her to know that no matter what, she will be beautiful as long as she holds her head high. And look.
Magical.
One word or?
Godly.
Amazing.
Glamorous. Empowering. Not being in the shadows. A blessing. Phenomenal.
Chance to get dolled up and look pretty for everybody.
Pretty.
Go ahead.
Fun and bold. Why is this night important to you, and why did you want to be a part of it?
I didn't know anything about this night, but my daughter signed us up, and this is a chance for her to look beautiful and me to look beautiful together. And it's just me.
For me, this night, I used to battle with girlfriends. I never had a lot of girlfriends. I had guy friends. I was raised with boy cousins. And then when I had my daughter, because I wanted a boy, I was like, what do I do with that? Because I was not girly. I was the one that never wore dresses. I did in prom night, but I had my family come and do my hair and stuff. So I had my first pedicure maybe 2 years ago, because I wasn't comfortable with people touching me. So this means a lot, just coming out of my shell and standing up here in a dress like this, because believe me, I had a lot of anxiety. So this means a lot to have this much support. And Jerry, who put this together, is amazing. It's amazing, everybody's story.
All right. Oh, laugh. It's not nice.
So my sister-in-law told me about this, quite a few months ago. She's like, yeah, you gotta hurry up and get on it, because they're gonna go fast. I'm like, oh, okay. What is it? I got my ticket. So, I got my ticket. I didn't know anything about the event, but as time went on and I kind of read on it, I was like, oh, that's a really neat idea. That's awesome. So I started telling everybody else about it. And it's awesome because once I got here and I see wonderful, awesome women like these, it's just like, it really is awesome. So I don't know about the reason for me coming or signing up, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that, Gary was led to do something like this, because things like these events are definitely needed. And there are so many women out here who need events like this. So, I'm happy to be here.
Number one. Number two. Number three. All right. I think we know who it is. Lady in red. All right, Mary. Almost. She's lost 140 pounds by now. Work it, girl. Hands on hips and work it. You look great.
And so this night is important because we as women are powerful, we are strong. But we are not powerful and strong when we are divided. We are powerful and strong when we are together. The Bible says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, but a lot of times we forget the part that's right after that says, and marvelous in his sight. And sometimes we don't remember that marvelous part, that we are marvelous in his sight. So when I see this tonight, and I see these women who have given up their time, or the women that are here that have laid aside all of their insecurities to wear that dress that maybe didn't fit them right. This dress has been hanging in my closet for like 2 years. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna wear that dress. But I took it out because I realized that all of us tonight are doing something that we may be uncomfortable with. So the reason I'm here is because I want to get to know you, and I want you to know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made and marvelous in his sight, and you're marvelous in my sight as well. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't even know how I'm going to follow that. But, I mean, as you said, I'm one of those girls that was super insecure today and trying to find a dress. And I picked the dress that probably was a little too tight, and that's okay. Because this isn't about me. This is about something so much bigger than me. This is about women empowerment. And, I've gone through a lot. So I'm sorry. That sounds weird, but I've gone through a lot that I want to be able to kind of share with you guys, and so hopefully I'll be able to kind of explain my story a little bit more in this panel. But I don't know, I'm just here to uplift you guys. That's why I do what I do, and every single one of you beautiful ladies in here really was fearfully and wonderfully made. You guys are all completely beautiful to me, and just seeing each of you and doing your makeup and seeing you guys just brighten up and share your story. And I have probably cried already 4 times today just talking to you guys. But just being able to be here for you guys was really what drove it for me, because you guys are all beautiful. You really are. So I should probably pass the mic now.
I'm probably the senior citizen of the group, and I'm really kind of proud of that. 60 years ago, and I think that for me, the world takes a lot out of people, but women are strong and resilient, and they nurture others, but they haven't learned how to nurture themselves. We are so busy taking care of other people, doing stuff that they think. We haven't learned how to befriend one another. We have to practice being friends, because it's probably, I know so many women who say, most of my friends are guys, but women are great, and we have to learn that it's only the enemy that keeps us from figuring out what we have in common, whether we're black or white, whether we're young or old, no matter what body shape, beauty comes from the inside. So I'm excited that even though we're painting the outsides and we're wearing dresses and a lot of things, that the most important part is that we get an opportunity to see one another's hearts. So that's what made me excited to be a part of this experience.
Others have already shared. I was actually a teen girl that was a part of the Mean Girls, and I wasn't the mean girl, but all of my life, and when I share this story as an adult, people just can't believe it, but I fought all of my life because girls just said, I just don't like her, I don't know what it is, I don't like the way she looks, I don't like the way she talks. And from the 3rd grade until the 10th grade, I had to physically fight and protect myself from the same girl every single year, and was totally bullied and taunted. And so yes, the guys were my friends, And then, of course, I had the most popular boyfriend, and so they fought me even more. And so it is just so important because I didn't know until I became an adult how much that affected me, that people rejected me and just taunted me from early on, even though I was raised with a father that told me how beautiful and wonderful I was on the outside. On the inside, I felt like there was something wrong with me. And because I was pregnant at 15, of course, now I have to prove you guys wrong that I'm not going to be a statistic. And so my journey, just a little bit of that, I just worked so hard to be successful on the outside. And as an adult, I found myself internally frustrated because it's not what's on the outside that's most important, but it's within. And so I just want to encourage you guys, like Celeste said, that we need to focus more on ourselves. This outside world provides so many distractions. There's so many things that we have to do. We focus so much on everything else, but we really need to be cognizant and really pay attention to what our insides are saying and nurture ourselves and care for ourselves and just really be good to yourself because, again, I'm going to repeat, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. It doesn't matter what other people say. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what it feels like. Everything really does work together for the good. And I just want you guys to know to really take care of yourselves and focus on you and to be good from the inside out.
Good evening. When I was 14 years old, I decided I wanted to be an international opera singer. Really didn't have any idea what that meant now that I have become one and know what that means. But getting dressed up and putting on makeup, and that's all a part of my daily routine as a singer. But there was a point in my life where I realized that my spirit had been broken because someone had said something very unkind to me. And it was at that point that I realized that while everything can look great on the outside, and that is a beautiful and wonderful thing, what Samantha can do with makeup is so creative and so beautiful, and is truly an art. What's on the inside, as all of these women have said, is so very important. And a friend of mine gave me a book called Do You Think I'm Beautiful? And it was a book that was written out of a heart of a woman who had been broken, who had, life had beaten her down, and she realized that it was truly who God said she was and is that determined her value, that she was fearfully and wonderfully made, that she was special, she was worthy, she was unique, she was beautiful. And it is hard when, you work in a business like mine, especially now that we have HD television, and everything is up close and personal, and image is so important. But what I've learned through my career and through my life is that your value is not determined by your outward appearance, but it's truly what is on the inside that counts. And it's starting to sound repetitive, but I think we can all attest to the fact that that is what is true, and I think that's why we've all been invited here this evening, so that we can talk about what that looks like in real life, when life is hard and circumstances aren't always what they maybe we would have wanted them to be. I loved that at the beginning of this evening when we started with the princess and how she talked about the relationship with her mother. I didn't have a relationship like that. So it was hard for me as a young girl growing up to think, wow, how trying to always prove myself that I was worthy. And thankfully I had other women come alongside of me. And Celeste, what you said about how we need to come together and empower each other. I had other mother figures that came into my life and spoke into my life and helped me understand the beauty that was within. And I think that's has been the biggest driving force for me being here this evening, is to encourage each one of you that you are, again, fearfully and wonderfully made. You're special, you're unique, you are beautiful, and God has done a good thing in creating you. And sometimes we don't always understand when, from our family of origins, what that relationship is supposed to look like. But I hope we can talk about it a little bit more tonight so that we can understand the truth of that and the beauty of that relationship, so that we really do accept that truth, that we are beautiful.
So I also agree with everything that they've said, and they've said a lot of what I was going to talk about. But one of the things that you'll hear us say tonight a lot is you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I got here about 3:30 this afternoon, and I just began to walk around, and I got to watch everybody get all dressed up and their hair and makeup. But I was listening to everybody talk and how uncomfortable they were and uncomfortable in their dresses. And, their hair was, stressing them out because it wasn't what they were used to. And then I began to listen to some of the women talk about how they didn't deserve to be here because they were broken, or they had been, something had happened to them and they had been taken advantage of. I just want to share with you that we all have a story. We all have a past, and you can use that to propel you forward. And it doesn't matter what has been done to you or what has happened to you. You are all valuable and beautiful on the inside and outside.
When I was younger, I had this very best friend. I grew up with her. I knew her since kindergarten, and come to find out, she's someone that I really need forgiveness for. But very first things, and probably should have been one of my warning signs with her, was we were getting dressed one day, and I was like, "Oh, can I borrow that shirt?" And she was like, "I just don't know if that's gonna fit you." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So I was like getting ready, and I was like, "Oh, you look cute." And she was like, "Yeah, you do." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like talking about the shirt again. She was like, "Well, you're just a little bit bigger than me." I think I was like 11, 12. So at that point, I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't know. I didn't know what to say. So at that point, I was like, that's been playing in my mind since that happened. So constantly hearing in your mind, "Oh, you're a little bit bigger than her," and that probably actually started my comparing myself to a lot of other women that I really shouldn't have. So I'm just going to go ahead and start talking about my story. Does that sound good? Okay. So I've had a really, not a bad past, because my mom is here and she's amazing. She's nurtured me through my entire life. She is completely fantastic. I have had parents that are amazing, very involved in my life, and I am so thankful and so happy for that. So nothing that I say is based off of them. But from a very young age, something happened in my life that caused me to, what I didn't know until about 4 months ago, that caused me to have PTSD. So I had a very spiraling road of having severe depression and anxiety. So, and I'm already introverted, so even being up here is a little weird for me. But I struggled with that a lot. I struggled with my weight a lot. Even looking back at pictures, I'm like, "Oh, I wish I looked like that again." And I think I struggled with my weight when I was that. So it was just a really downhill thing to eventually where my depression led me to be suicidal. And I tried to commit suicide multiple times. But it has taught me a lot. And, I mean, I don't, my parents are such a godsend to me. They really are. They have pulled me out every time that I've tried. And some as recent as this past year. So I, about 5 months ago, was put into a hospital for 5 days, thinking that I was just going to get medicine to make all of my anxiety and depression go away. To being admitted, and I had no idea I was going to be admitted. It actually hit me, and they said I could have a paper clip. Stupidest thing ever, but I asked for a paper clip to hold some papers together, and they said I couldn't. And I immediately started crying. And that first day was really hard. And the second day, I don't think it got much better. And at that point, I was still very self-conscious. I wasn't allowed to have makeup. I wasn't allowed to really have any showering tools or anything. But I was so overwhelmed with trying to push myself with work and with school that it needed to happen. I wasn't taking care of myself, to where my depression and my anxiety completely overthrew me. I was having manic episodes. I got diagnosed with bipolar too. So I was having manic episodes where I wouldn't remember what I was doing. So I would just get so angry and I wouldn't even realize what was happening. Where I made my sister cry multiple times. I have a sister that's 4.5 years older than me. And when I tried to commit suicide multiple times, I don't remember. You just get in kind of a tunnel vision thing. And it took me a really long time to face that was my reality and to accept that I actually needed help for that. So now I have parents who love me dearly and they help me. And I take a lot of medication, so not that that's a bad thing, but they bought me a little pill holder. And that was just a little thing that I really needed. And I think even after I got off of that, I was trying to kind of blindside myself, thinking that I didn't have to deal with this again. So there were times where I would stop taking my medication and and so I started working 3 different jobs while being in school full-time and realizing that I couldn't do that and I wasn't taking care of myself and I was trying to do things for other people. So it's still a struggle for me, guys. And it will probably always be a struggle for me. But I don't want you guys to feel the same pain that I went through for the majority of my life because I put it behind me because I didn't want to accept it. And I know that there's a lot of young women in here today. And I just want to apologize if you are struggling with anxiety or depression or self-image issues, because you should not be going through that. That is not a thing that should be happening to you, but it's something that is very, very apparent, and it's something that I struggle with, even as I'm trying to make other people look beautiful. So that's a little bit of my story, but we all have our stories, and surround yourself with women that empower you and that you know you have good relationships with. Because I could not have gotten out of every one of my suicide attempts, which there's been about 4 or 5, and I'm 22 years old. So there's been about 4 or 5, and I could not have gotten through it without my mom, without my sister, and without my 2 best friends, who are both women and you are both God followers. So surround yourself with women and empower yourself. So, sorry, I'll pass on.
A lot of people who are here struggling with recovery, with addiction, with incest, with abuse, with rape, because that's just the nature of the world. But because we don't share the fact that that uncle or that person next door or whatever happened, in the prisons, the majority of people are there because they've been abused somehow. And they took a drug or they made a choice to try to get rid of the pain. There's only one way to get rid of the pain. That's to allow God to help you forgive your offender, to forgive yourself, and to work it through. And I know that sounds so cliche, but the revolving door is because we never tell. And then we blame ourselves. But none of us is perfect. All of us are broken. And the only way that we can even begin to feel whole is by learning to love that person that God made. His word says he didn't make any junk. That not only are we fearfully and wonderfully made, but each of us is the apple of his eye. His word says that we are to die for. So Samantha, I want you to know that God thinks you are the apple of his eye, and he will die for you. So there's no junk. So no matter what it is that's going on with you, you are more than worth it. And that's what we want each of you ladies to do. That you are more than worth it. No matter what you've done, no matter what you thought about doing, God knew even before you thought it, and he thought you were to die for anyway. Isn't that good news? Isn't that a reason to celebrate? Now that's a reason to get dressed up from the inside out.
I think I knew in 9th grade that I wanted to be a psychologist when I took psychology class and human behavior. But then, like I said, I was pregnant at 15 and had a son in high school at 16, and so I'm thinking, oh snap, they told me that you have to have a doctorate in this, and so I need to do something to take care of this baby. And so I decided to go into computers and go to a 2-year technical school, and my plan was to have for them to pay for me to go to a 4-year school, blah, 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 blah. So I went to the 2-year school and got a degree, and as I was waiting to be able to take another class that wasn't offered for about another year, I started taking psychology classes again. And I just knew that that's where I belonged. And I believe I got into that area because I wanted to help initially people that struggled with addictions. The reason I wanted to help people that struggle with addictions is because almost as far as I can remember, my parents actually struggled with addictions, and it was actually the one that's actually legal that I think is one of the worst ones that you can struggle with, which is actually alcohol. And so all of my life I grew up with a parent that struggled with an alcohol addiction and left. Myself and my sister, who is here and we're 18 months apart, caused her to do some things that now, you know, I understand that she was just struggling, but at the time left us totally abandoned, totally unsafe, totally insecure, feeling insecure, and just kind of left us at times to our own devices. And so I was traumatized, I realize now, by some of the events that took place with the alcohol addictions and other things that we were exposed to. And so I went into the field of social work and wanting to help people with addictions because of the struggles that I had, and I wanted to help people to overcome in those areas. That kind of grew into me really being interested in mental health because, again, I had heard about a few family members that struggled with bipolar or schizophrenia. And again, I just had compassion in those areas. And normally that is kind of what I want to share, you guys. Again,
Celeste said, that you are only as sick as your secrets. And some people don't like to share these things about their childhood or their experiences, whether it was you, whether it's a parent, whether it was a family member. But the reason that I believe I'm so effective in the field that I'm in, the reason why I feel like I'm able to engage, the reason why I'm able to go into a home as a child welfare worker and work so well with women and families that children have been taken away from them because of their experiences is because at one time I was that child. At one time I had been there. I don't go into a home, you know, judging or looking at you for what you've been through or where you are at that time. I go into a home and I meet you where you are, and I do whatever I can, and I have passion about helping you and to figure out what kind of plan we can put in place for you to get your children back, or what can I do to help you so that you can kick this addiction. And so I just want to encourage each and every last one of you, again, why it is so important to tell, why it is so important to share. It is therapeutic to talk. It is therapeutic to journal. It is therapeutic to have someone that you can trust, that you can talk about your issues, because that is how you release the pain. And I found that my calling was actually in the areas that I struggled with the most. And so whatever you grew up, whatever your secret is, whatever are the things that you don't like to talk about, your mess become your miracles. Your mess becomes your blessings. Your mess becomes the things that you are able to help. And people will naturally just gravitate to you because there's just something on you, or something that they just feel, or something. You just kind of share the same spirit when you have those same types of experiences. And so I just want to encourage you guys, don't be ashamed about your past. Don't be ashamed about where you are. We all make mistakes. There are things that I've gone through just within the last year that were experiences that I didn't have before. But now that I've had those experiences, we think that they're embarrassing, or we think that they weren't on the right track. But now there are so many more people that I can help, and so many people that can relate to me because I've actually gone through those things and I was able to overcome. And I just want you to know that you can too.
Looking at me, you would not know I was sexually molested by 3 different family members when I was a little girl. Looking at me, you would not know that I was raped at 18. That was my first intimate experience. Looking at me, you would not know that I was in an abusive first marriage. Is this sounding familiar to some in this room? The outside is just the outside. It's the inside that counts. So the things that we go through, God won't waste it, but we have to talk about it with somebody. Because our story, it's somebody else's story too, and you could be helping them tremendously.
I thought my world revolved around what people thought about me and what I could do for them. And so that was my Achilles heel. And so when I graduated high school, I went into the workforce and was going to college, and I was so enthusiastic about pleasing everybody that I came in contact with. I had to make them happy. It didn't matter how I felt about it. Long story short, that also caused me to be taken advantage of in many areas. And so I began to pray, and God rescued me from that. But I began to pray, okay, God, what next? What do you want from me? What do you want me to do? And so I began to travel to the Philippines. Had some friends that were missionaries there. And so I just picked up one day and left. And was there for a month. And so God just began to work in my life to work with women who had been trafficked. And so I began to minister there to them, and realizing that most of them had the same personality I did, that they were people pleasers, and they wrapped their value in what other people thought of them, whether that be men, women, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and even just random strangers. And I saw those traits in them. And so when I got back, I began to travel back and forth. And so when I got back, I thought, okay, what's next here? And so I began to work with women here who have been abused sexually. And so I get to respond to hospitals, and I have the privilege and the honor of working with those who have experienced that and help them through that process. And so what I have learned is 95% of them are taken advantage of because they don't see value in themselves. They wrap their value in what either men or people that take advantage of them think of them. And so they just don't see the value in themselves to get out of that, or to ask for help, or to share their secret like a couple of our women have shared. So if you do have a secret that you feel like you need to share, Barry can get you in contact with anybody or with people that can help you get out of that. I also want to touch a little bit on the men and the young men that are working tonight. They are godly examples of how men should treat their women. They are here serving you and loving on you in a godly way. So thank you, men.
Being a performer, you always want people to love you. You perform because it's your gift, but you perform because you want to make people happy. And if they're not happy, then you have to figure out some way to make them happy. And one of the best days of my life is when I stopped caring what other people thought.
Amen.
And I don't say that as a reflection of myself not wanting to be excellent at what I was doing. Because I think we are called into giving our gifts to and honing them to be excellent and beautiful. But I stopped comparing myself to other people. I stopped trying to be somebody that I wasn't. I stopped trying to be somebody else. I started to just be me. And that was one of the most freeing days of my entire life. Because what I shared earlier about the fact that God had already affirmed in me that I was beautiful, really started to take shape in my own life, which is why I can raise my hand when you say, did you say that you were beautiful when you looked in the mirror? I can raise my hand because part of that is not me. It's not the part of me that says I'm not beautiful. It's God saying that to me and affirming that in me, and my recognition of that gives me the freedom to be this person that I am in all my many shapes and forms that I have been over the 42 years of my life. I'm only 28, but 2 babies later, and just being able to not care. And that is, I just want to encourage you to not put as much value on what all these other people are maybe saying to you that is shaping you. The one thing that I had mentioned a little bit earlier about how someone said something very cruel to me. I had been studying voice since I was 9 years old, and I was in a very prestigious program, a summer program. I was the youngest of all of the singers there. And I was working with a very important teacher who was from New York, and they had brought her in to teach all of the students. And I wasn't getting what she was trying to say. And after several lessons, she just says to me, I don't know why you're not getting this. Are you stupid? And I was like, well, nobody's ever called me that before. Like, nobody ever said you were bad before, or, And that really crushed my spirit, but I sucked back those tears because I felt like her modus operandi was to break people's spirits so that she could take credit for building them back up again. But I wasn't going to play into that in the moment. And I didn't, and I said, if I'm not getting this, you're going to have to teach it to me another way. But I walked out of that lesson very crushed in spirit, even though I wasn't showing it on. And I think a lot of us are crushed in spirit, but we don't show it on the outside because we don't want people to know our mess. We don't want people to know our secrets. We don't want people to know our brokenness. But it also says in Psalm 139 about being fearfully and wonderfully made that God knows everything about you. He knows the words that you're going to say before they even come out of your mouth. He knows your heart. He knows how beautiful you are. He knows how broken you are. He knows the negative things that you think about yourself. And he wants to come in and heal that and bless it. And the way he did that for me was through a teacher who then became my voice teacher and really was responsible for me building the foundation of my vocal technique, which has helped me to have the career that I've had to this day. And she immediately, within 10 minutes of my first lesson with her, said, you know, we can fix what's wrong with your voice. You need to heal your spirit. And she was right. And I think there's a lot of broken spirits that need to be healed, that don't need to worry about what other people are saying about them, that need to put more importance on what the Creator has said about them. And I love that out of our people-pleasing, there has been birthed a new purpose for that. And one of the things that I have been able to do through my career is to bring to light other organizations that are out there helping other people understand who they are, what their identity is in Christ. And because the video isn't working, I'm just going to say briefly, one of my guests here this evening is a woman very much like you. In fact, I know you connected a little bit earlier about talking about your overseas ministries, but she's the executive director and co-founder of an organization called Hope Restored India. And raise your hand, Laura. Laura Myers right here. She is actually from this area. I'm not a native of this area, but as God would have it, I was introduced to her from my aunt in California, who actually met her co-founder in India. Now, go figure. But we're here tonight partly because of a joint effort when I was sharing my heart with Jerry about a year ago about becoming a part of helping their ministry to put a concert on in town, which is going to happen on February 4th, in just 3 weeks from tonight, about shedding light onto this whole area of human trafficking, which comes out of what you were saying earlier, Tana, about women not feeling worthy, and because the way they see themselves, they become abused, taken advantage of. And that's why I'm so excited that we're able to talk about these things, that you guys are on the other side of the world, talking about things that are actually happening right here in this room, but that we are able to shed light and to be light to women in the world who, in most cases, especially in India, they're told that that's what they're going to do. They are sold into that, and that is what is their lot in life. And for people like Laura and Tana to go into their community and say, no, there is more to you. There's more to you than the abuse that you've experienced. There's more to you than the secret that you hold.
By looking at me, you wouldn't know that I was raped twice in college. And I was the girl in high school. I went to Monroe, so I'm not too far. Shout out to all the Hornets in the room. I saw you. Whoop, whoop. I see you guys. I see you guys. I see you guys. I knew everyone. I did plays. I did musicals. I was friendly. And I went to college with such high hopes and so low self-esteem. And when I went there, and I can't say because I too had parents, you know, my mom was really great, she used to empower me. My father, I love him, and he did the best that he could, but I had daddy issues. And it wasn't that he didn't provide for me, because he did. I just never heard certain things. I never heard, you are beautiful. Can anybody relate to that? I never heard, you know what, you are just, you know, Destiny, you're great. And as he got older and as I got older, he really did start to say those things. But my father is very reserved. He was in the military. He's very, very intelligent, very analytical. He has a business mind. But he just didn't know how to show me how to love or how to be loved. So when I went to college, I had fun, but I got into relationships that were horrible because I didn't know how to be loved, and at the time, I hadn't opened up myself to be loved by the Father. And so I struggled with my body image, but more importantly, just the first person who said, you know what, you look good, I was like, ooh, I look good, you know, and I went for that. It sounded good to my ear because I didn't know any better. Because I didn't know any better, that's what I went with. And so my heart goes to young women because a lot of times as younger women, and I mean high school, like I'm only 29, but I love dealing with high school girls and really young guys too because they just crack me up. They're so real, they're so candid, and you know, they tell me all the time, oh, Miss Desi, it's not like that, you know. But I listen to the music that they listen to because I know that we should all know that what goes in will come out.
What's something people would know? I'm a little ratchet. Don't get it messed up.
You like to dress up?
No. Oh, I love Turner Classic Movies. Actually, whoever's shining that light, you better have a good end with God. But I think, okay, so I think we should have a Turner Classic Movie film festival here.
That would be amazing.
Like, I really love, like, I want to go on the cruise. Like, yeah, my husband said that's the one time I can go with somebody else. But I really love Turner Classic Movies, so that's a good one. I'm the daughter of a mortician.
Yeah, that's good.
So for all the ladies that I did your foundation, thank you. You remember live bodies. Usually mine can't move or complain. Okay. Growing up with a girl home, you got to do some strange things. I don't know.
What's the strangest? I don't want to know that. How did you meet your husband? Aww.
Oh, that's not really, that was really exciting. Better yet, okay, so how did he propose? So like, okay, here's something. The light, wait, I don't understand. Okay.
Why is this event important to you?
Well, one of the things here at Kingswell, what we like to do is to cultivate missional leaders who can think outside the box and to engage our community in different out-of-the-box ways. And so, you know, this event kind of models that in so many ways, in that, you know, we want to make our community better. And so I know Jerry was thinking through this several years ago, saying, hey, why don't we just have a ladies' night out where we just kind of engage women and empower them to better themselves. And so every year this has gotten bigger and better, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of an event that's gotten out of hand for Jerry. So but this is the type of stuff that we like to do, and we like to cultivate leaders, train leaders to do these type of things. And so this is why that's so important. We want to change our community, make it better, and you guys are the ones, our ladies are the ones who are going to do that in our community. Not just ladies, but guys and everybody that lives in the city of Middletown. So feel empowered, feel valued, that you are doing something very significant, and that you are made in the image of God. Okay? And that's why this is important. Okay. And I want to thank so many people who have made this event possible. So many organizations, businesses have donated food from Mockingbirds down the street, their restaurant, from Triple Moon Coffee, who's donated coffee. Mika here at the Windermere, who has provided this beautiful space. Thank you so much. I can go on and on and on. And the generosity has been off the chain for this event. It really has. And off the chain. Including the visual guys here. And thanks so much. This has really been a great event. And I think we added up all the donations, and I think it added up to like what, $240 per person? 225.
But we owe so much more.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't spend a dime, except for my $50 for the rolls, but that's about it. Which I forgot, by the way, today. So, my good man here, Dave, actually went to Marsh and he negotiated with Marsh for 200 rolls. Can you imagine that? So, he did a great job. So thanks so much for coming. There's just a couple of things. One is that we have various brochures about Kingsville and what we do in the back table here to the right. And also there's a bag. If you feel led that you want to give, we are a nonprofit, and your gift is very much appreciated. And if you want, just put it in an envelope in the bag, and that's it. Thanks so much for that. And I'm going to give this over to my wife. Isn't she beautiful tonight?